Today we will be learning about TanStack Router, data loading and caching features. If you learn something new, don't forget to subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to get the notifications for the new videos uploaded instantly. So let's get started. So I have in front of me VS Code open with the project. This is the same project which we have discussed. If you have not visited it, please visit the previous video shown on the I button. So here, let's open the source folder and we will be working on the data loading part first and how the data is fetched. And then we will be working on how the caching works in the system. So let's start. Just to make sure that everything is fine, let's run the product itself. Let's do PNPM, actually PNPM all. PNPM all actually not only builds the project in the production mode, but it also runs the product. Okay, friends, let's run this app. Okay, this is the same app. Need to understand the data loader first. So we will understand about the users and data loading using TanStack. This is the API route which we have used, and it's a very simple. Basically, it's a two functions in this API. This is like the first one is the get users, which will fetch all the users from a particular mock API, and the other is this get user ID, which takes a single argument as an ID and fetch the details about the single user. Okay, this is my mock API, so we can see how the APIs work. So before we start, let's understand the code. It's a typical fetch API code where we can fetch the data, and we are making a request and getting the async response, and that's all we have in the API routes. So let's go to other areas to understand further how the things work. Let's go to routes, and in users we have index route. So the first thing is that we want to get all the users, so we have an index route. So we have seen that we have marked /users, and we are getting the data. We are loading the component users component, and we are calling the function get users, which is obviously coming from the API route which we have seen. Actually, I should mark this as well. All the three things should be marked as commented so that we can understand the caching one by one, what exactly caching at the time. But right now, let's load the data and see how it works. Now, in the simple, it's pretty simple. The component loading the data. Once the data is loaded, we need to fetch the data using the use later data hook, fetch the basically calls the functions and get the data based on the API which we have mentioned. Okay, nothing special in this. Let's run this app and click the user. But before we click the user, let's open the application console to see how the application works. But before we move further, let's open the network tab and see how the network request goes. So it's better to keep it open. Here it is. Now I have opened it in the development mode. Let's see this. So network tab is working fine and the data is coming. So let's go to the user route. See, the data has been loaded. The network request, you can see that it took almost 1.47 seconds, and the data has been loaded, and you can see the data. Now let's go to another route. Let's go to home route again, and let's open the users routes once again and see what happens. See, there is no request and the data is coming directly. How is it happening? This is happening because there is inbuilt caching. See, I'm clicking the data once again, and as soon as I click the Pokemon you can see the data is there. Many times I will click, every time I will click the Pokemons, the data will be fetched. See, but whenever I will click the user's the data will be there, but there will be no entry for the network tab. How is it and why is it so? Let's understand what is the difference between the two. Okay. Now, why is it so? So, it is because of the caching issue. So, let's see why it is there. Let me open the caching. So, now we have a stale times zero caching in. Now we have two files, caching index as well as index for Pokemon. Now we have two files, one for Pokemon index and another for this users index. So you can see the difference. Here we have mentioned that the stale time in zero has been marked, and here there is nothing. Nothing is there in this users API or users component or users route. Whereas in previous one, we can see stale time zero. That is the reason why stale time zero is basically, when you say stale time zero, it means we have stale time here infinity and we have stale time zero. That is the basic difference as of now. So this difference is replicated in our query, in our TanStack router. One, I'm clicking this routes again and again, and you can see that every time I click, it works, and it gets a separate entry. But there is no entry for users because the stale time is infinity. What does it mean? It means that there is no changes. It is not going to make a request, and whatever it has, this is how the caching works. So let's make some changes and let's make the Pokemon Infinity as well, or let's make the users zero. Now, what I have done, I have changed this to stale time to zero for users, and let's see how does it behave now. No change. Just a second. Let's see. Actually, it's one change I have to make. I have added an extra comma. Maybe that could be the reason because it's a last item here. So no need to add comma. Let's see, does it work now? And let's reboot this, reload this one so that fresh state is arrived. Here it is. Now everything, it has been loaded right from the scratch. Now you can see that we are able to see, refresh this and we will be able to get the fresh records. Now we have 24 APIs record some different number. See, let's change it to okay. Now we have changed the number. Okay, now let's make the record and let's see how. See, currently it's 24. Now I'm going to Pokemon, clearing all the record. Pokemon, once again I have visited. Now I'm going to visit users and see carefully what happens. 24 and 14. Instantly, it has changed. First it shows 24 and then it shows 14. The reason is that it is working based on the caching. First, the cache data has been shown, and when it's checked in the background, oh, there is a new data, it updated the cache and updated the data. So now, if I go to this, you will again see the cache data. Every time it is making the cache data, stale request, and then it is fetching the new request, and if there is a mismatch or if there is a change, it will update it. Anyway, it is showing the cache request on the back end. So rather than you will see a loading data or something, you will see some cache data. Now what we are doing, now we do one thing. Let's make it another change. Okay. Now, let me mark this as a comment, move the comma as it is last, and then now I change it to 30 seconds. So now I am refreshing the cache after 30 seconds. Till 30 seconds, it will show the same thing, and after 30 seconds, it will show the updated cache. So let's check. I have saved it. I'm refreshing it so that whole state has been gone, and yeah, I have changed it and the whole state is gone. So let me clear this. Okay, now there is no change as of. I'm clicking this users, and till 30 seconds it will not make any change. It will not actually request. It will hold that cache request, whatever it has there in the 30 seconds. So even if I change that API, okay, now still I'm showing 14, but it is not 14 now. It is way more than that. So now still let me press this, but it is still showing me 14. See, it is still showing me 14. But now it has started showing 45. Why? Because my 30 seconds timeline has been gone. So now it till 30 seconds it will show the cache data, and after that it will make the request. Now it is not going to make the request. I'm clicking it continuously and there is no change and it is still working. See, no more request. Now even if okay, even if I change it, okay, again showing 45, 20. Now 30 seconds is gone. Let me do a little quickly this time to show you. Okay, showing 20. So still showing 20. So it means it's a cached version. Cached version is being shown. So we are sending a network request using the cached version, and still we can at least give some data to the user, which is not regularly updating. So that is the whole idea of this caching. And now I think the 30 seconds has been passed. Now you can see that the data. So this is all for caching and this is all for data loading. I think this is sufficient for you to understand in this session. Otherwise the session will be pretty long. So the concept will be clear. And in next session, we will be working on some new stuff in this TanStack router. Please do subscribe my channel and ask questions as much as possible in the comment section. And if needed, we can have a live session with you to answer all your queries. Happy coding.